देश के 25 से ज्यादा शहरों में मेट्रो चलने लगी। आज भारत मेट्रो के मामले में दुनिया का तीसरा बड़ा नेटवर्क बन चुका है।
Today, in more than 25 cities across the country, India has quietly built the third largest metro network on the planet. But underneath this massive infrastructure boom is a financial sinkhole. Major networks in Delhi, Bangalore, and Hyderabad are bleeding hundreds of crores year after year. Compare that to systems abroad. The Tokyo Metro pulled in roughly 3,000 crores in profit last year. The reason for India's massive financial gap didn't start when the trains began running. The failure was baked into the math before a single shovel hit the dirt, all driven by a metric called projected ridership. This chart shows how that metric was weaponized. Over a 30-year timeline, officials mapped out an aggressive, soaring curve of expected daily passengers. They needed these numbers to look spectacular to secure central approvals and bank loans. But when stations opened, actual passenger numbers flatlined drastically below estimates. The entire planning system incentivized a perfect paper vision. By ignoring the ground reality just to get the project funded, authorities engineered a permanent financial deficit from day one. This paper illusion gets even worse when you look at smaller cities like Bhopal and Jaipur, which built massive rail networks they never actually needed. In these urban centers, nearly half of all daily commutes are incredibly short, less than 5 kilometers. That's a major problem for heavy rail economics. A metro system generally requires a large population taking long-distance trips of over 10 kilometers to generate enough ticket revenue to survive. So thousands of crores in taxpayer funds were poured into building state-of-the-art stations that were statistically destined to sit empty. For the people who actually live in these cities, the real barrier to using the metro is something called last-mile connectivity, the journey from a commuter's front door to the actual station entrance. In India, that short journey is exhausting. Pedestrians have to navigate broken footpaths, dodge street vendors, and wait for dedicated feeder buses that often don't exist, which leaves commuters trapped at the station exit, entirely dependent on local auto rickshaws that charge arbitrary, inflated flat rates just to cover that final stretch. When you add that daily rickshaw fare to the cost of the metro ticket, taking public transit becomes more expensive and time-consuming than just driving a personal car or bike. This split-screen comparison highlights the massive affordability gap. In Mumbai, a 40-kilometer journey on a legacy local train costs exactly 10 rupees. That exact same distance on the modern metro costs 80 rupees, an 8-time price multiplier. That price tag instantly locks out daily wage workers and lower-middle-class families. The largest slice of the urban population simply cannot afford the daily commute. A world-class, air-conditioned transport system serves no purpose if it is physically stressful to reach and economically impossible for a billion people to afford. The financial bleed also stems from a massive failure in how cities manage their real estate. When a new metro line is built, it instantly drives up the value of all the surrounding commercial land. Take Mumbai's Metro Line 1. The moment it connected key neighborhoods, it triggered a massive wave of dense office developments and created enormous commercial wealth along its route. But the transit authority that actually spent the money to build that metro received absolutely none of the resulting financial upside. Because metro corporations in India rarely own the land around their stations, and because of complex municipal zoning laws, all the new property taxes and stamp duties flow directly to city agencies, bypassing the transit system entirely. Hong Kong solves this by operating its metro authority as a massive landlord. They directly integrate their stations into shopping malls and apartment complexes, capturing that real estate rent to generate billions in profit. India successfully poured concrete and laid the tracks, but structurally failed to build the surrounding municipal business model required to keep the trains running. To stop the bleeding, future networks have to adopt a framework called transit-oriented development. This animation shows how transit-oriented development works in practice. A station blueprint must seamlessly integrate with towering commercial skyscrapers, high-density apartments, and malls. The rent collected from these spaces directly subsidizes the cost of the passenger tickets. And before any new transit project even gets approved, the city must legally mandate and fund proper pedestrian footpaths, cycle lanes, and dedicated feeder bus networks to solve the last-mile friction. Until India stops treating its metros as isolated political vanity projects and starts designing them as integrated urban ecosystems, the financial collapse will only accelerate.